What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining. Please let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me, if this is actually working, because this is the first time I've tried to do a live stream. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just had YouTube myself yelling at me in my headphones, but I closed the YouTube stream, so hopefully you can hear me, you can see me. Let me know in the comments if you can. I guess I just heard myself, so that's a good sign that it's probably working. Thank you all for joining. I see several familiar faces and really appreciate you all hanging out with me. To be honest with you, my plan going into today was I'll start today. I'll kind of try to figure out how StreamYard works. Okay, thank you, Numi. I was going to try and figure out tonight, how StreamYard works. I was going to get started tomorrow just with a couple like tutorial videos on playoff weekly winners, playoff best ball, how it all works, some strategy stuff, and then maybe start live streaming on Wednesday, Thursday. I didn't really know exactly how I was going to go. And then tonight, I saw on Twitter some chatter that the Gauntlet was getting close to Philly, and so I thought I better get started tonight. So this is really like I literally decided, I don't know, 40 minutes ago to try to get this out tonight. Had not set anything up as far as StreamYard and YouTube, but I think I'm all good to go now. As I said, a lot of familiar faces in chat. Really appreciate you. Baldy, Wes, Jim Money. Jim Money, you should come back to the Love Shack Discord. We miss you. Nez and Numi both here from the Bad Bros. I actually started composing a tweet to all three badge bros to see if anybody wanted to join me on the stream tonight. And then I was like, it's about to start in 5 minutes. This is way too last minute to bring on a guest. So I did not send the tweet. I also thought probably Numi maybe can't do it anymore now that he is an Underdog employee, can't come on these streams. I don't know how that works. So I didn't end up inviting anybody. But if Nez, Numi, if either of you want to join, if you feel like talking some best ball, send me a DM. I'll bring you onto the stream. All right. So I've got Underdog pulled up here. I guess I'll do the usual. While you're coming in, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification button so you can get alerts when my shows go live. It's just really good to see Sam, Michael, so many familiar names here. Really appreciate you all hanging out. I've already got Underdog pulled up here. So my thinking is I will start with I guess I'll start with the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet, probably the one that people are most interested in playing. I pulled up several tabs here that I can kind of talk through as I go over things. But I'll start with a little bit of Gauntlet strategy. I assume a lot of people here probably already know how this kind of works, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But essentially, with the Gauntlet, as you can see here, 67,200 total entrants in the contest, and only the top 400 make the final. And even among the people who make the final, which is the Super Bowl round, the bottom half only wins $750. So this is a contest that is very top heavy. You really want to not only make it to the final, but do well in that Super Bowl round. Because if you build for anything other than that, you're making a negative EV lineup. If you don't make a lineup that has a chance to make real money in the final round on the Gauntlet. So to me, and I've written this up before, I've talked about this a little bit elsewhere, but essentially for the Gauntlet, you are reverse engineering from these are the two teams I think are going to be in the Super Bowl, and you try to make sure that you have a live roster of, and I guess I can pull up the positions here. It's going to be a quarterback, one running back, two wide receivers / tight ends, pass catchers, and then a flex position. So you want to have at least that filled out for your Super Bowl. So you choose two teams that can fill out those roster, have at least five that will be live. Ideally more than five, because the more combos you can potentially win with, the better. But you want to have at least five live players in that Super Bowl spot. You have total of 10 spots that you draft. So you start by, if you're not familiar at all with Underdog, you start by entering the draft. The five other people, so it's going to be six people in your draft room total who sign up around the same time as you. You're going to be drafting against those five people for the first round of the playoffs. Wildcard weekend, you're competing against just those five other people. And the top two teams for the wildcard weekend, the top two scoring teams, move on to the second round in the Gauntlet. From there, the second round is, let's see, at the end of round one, 14 person group. So then you're going to be regrouped into a group of 14 for the divisional round. The top two of those 14 then move on to the conference championship. Finally, that's going to be just 8 players in your, is that right? Let me make sure I'm reading this right. Top one, I want to say it's 8, but I don't, yes, 400 different 8-person groups, and it's just the top one from the conference championship make it to the final, at which point there's just 400 of you left competing against each other for that top prize. 150,000 to first, just 750 to the bottom half of the teams who even make it to the final. So really tough to make it to the final. And even once you get there, you have a 50% chance of making more than $750. So that is kind of the structure of the gauntlet. So things to keep in mind are you need a team. So the very first round, sorry, I don't know if I said this. The very first round is just 6 total. It's the 6th year that you draft with. Top 2 of those 6 move on. So it is by far the easiest round to move on from. A third of the people who you draft with are going to move on to the second round. So you got to have enough firepower to make it through that first round, but you really don't need to like crush in the first round. You don't get bonus points for the more points you put up in the first round, other than just being good enough to move on. So if you're trying to draft for a Ravens 49ers Super Bowl, which is what we saw last year with the 2 bye teams made it to the Super Bowl last year. That is the most difficult outcome for these drafts. Last year was the Eagles and the Chiefs had the bye weeks. They both made the Super Bowl. That is really tough to get through a roster of 5 plus the Super Bowl. That's the one scenario where I might be okay with 4 players in the Super Bowl. If you're building out for a 49ers Ravens Super Bowl, I think you might be able to get by with just 4. There were a handful of teams that did have 5 though last year, as I recall, including Lariota, who I know a little bit, had 5 in the Super Bowl and was very live to win. So that one is tough. Kyle asks, have you checked out the DK playoff best ball yet? I haven't. I've heard a lot of good things today. So to be honest with you, again, back to like I was not really planning on streaming today. I also have not actually drafted on Underdog much like over the past weekend. I drafted a ton like over the 3 weeks prior, was drafting a lot. I think I'm a little bit dejected because both the Rams and the Bills made the Super Bowl. The Jags and the Seahawks did not make the Super Bowl. So I drafted a good bit of the Jags, the Seahawks, the Colts when those teams had like 75. I don't know if the Colts were ever there, but the Jags and the Seahawks, I think were like 75, 80% chance of making the playoffs. And then did not make the playoffs. So I was drafting them over the Rams and the Bills, who had much lesser chance of making the playoffs, but we're also getting drafted in every single draft. I was like, I'm not going to draft these teams that are unlikely to make the playoffs, and everybody is drafting them. That blew up in my face. Did not work out well for me at all. So I've been a little bit dejected. Have not been drafting. Have not checked out DraftKings yet for this. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, because that one just opened, I think today or yesterday. Maybe that'll be a draft soon, or a stream that I'll do soon after I look at that. Yeah, Jim says Jags missing the playoffs crushed myself. Me too. I drafted. I mean, I didn't draft that much of them, but I drafted more of like Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne than I did, and also the Seahawks, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker. They were just going completely undrafted, even when they had really good odds of making the playoffs. So I was in on those teams, and that did not work out for me. So yeah, maybe I'll do DraftKings another stream. I have done one drafters draft, which is a little bit different strategy. DK is UD roster plus tight end plus extra flex. That is interesting. Drafters also has a tight end position. I can't decide if I like that or not. Like, it's a little bit tough for building like for the Super Bowl if you need a tight end from one of those teams. I'm guessing those become like a big time premium to fill that spot for your tight end roster. It's a little bit tricky, but it's kind of interesting. I like having all of these. No extra flex. Okay, extra bench. I like having all of these different types of playoff best ball stuff. Like it is really fun. I have not had success in this format, so I want to be upfront about that. I think I build good teams. I actually 2 years ago I built out a bunch of Rams Bengals, and so that was pretty devastating for me that none of them made it through. But I think that I've had the right idea in some of my drafts. I just have not. It takes both skill and a lot of luck to win in these contests. I have not had a ton of success in playoff best ball so far, but this is my year. This is the year. I'm going to get there. What's up, Short Gamer? Good to see you. A lot of Kickstart, one of the more common live when we go live with the High Stakes podcast. Kickstarter was always there. It's actually Kulkstarter, Kulkstart, KL. Good to see you. Thank you all for joining me. Really appreciate it. It's been awesome the past week. All the support that I've gotten since I was laid off has been very, very cool. And honestly, very unexpected. I was not expecting the amount of support I've had. All right, I'm going to enter the gauntlet here. and we can continue. This is, and I said that I think that I know what I'm doing in these playoff best ball drafts. I do think that I know what I'm doing theoretically. It also happens all the time that I start a draft and quickly, like, things don't go the way I was hoping they would, and I end up being like, I don't like my team at all. I think that I screwed that up big time. So hopefully I'll be able to draft well on this stream, draft a good Gauntlet team here. But got to have good enough team to get through the first round. And then from there, just need to, then it gets tougher. There's 14 teams in the second round for the divisional finals, 8 in the conference championship, and then finally the Super Bowl. Oh, Nez, he's in here and he's drafting against me. What an asshole. What an asshole you are, Nez. While we're here, while we're waiting for this to fill, just kidding, Nez, obviously. I want to look at the, this is something that I've pulled up regularly, and honestly, I have no idea how good the site is, but I've pulled up other sites also to just kind of double check. But they have really, I like the format here of just seeing odds of making the Super Bowl here for each team. I think, because I don't really care who wins the Super Bowl, I just care who gets there. So I think this is directionally accurate at the very least. They give the Ravens a 59% chance to make the Super Bowl, 49ers 48%, Cowboys 19%, Lions 16%. They're only giving the Bills a 10%. So I think at this point, this is actually a little bit different than a lot of other places where I think the Bills have like the third best odds of making the Super Bowl. End me now if the Bills make the Super Bowl, because that's just going to kill almost everything I've done to this point. The Browns I've been pretty in on, 9% chance to make the Super Bowl, Chiefs 9%, Eagles 8%. So I like to just kind of keep referencing these types of things that give you different odds of making Super Bowl. Here, let's see what ESPN has. It says that I'm 4 picks away already. What are we giving the Bills? 26% chance of making the Super Bowl. That is, yeah, I don't want it. I don't want it one bit. I am not prepared for a Bills Super Bowl. All right, CMC, Lamar Jackson go 1-2. CeeDee Lamb number 3. Nez gonna try and wait me out, see if Neil gives any indication of what he wants to do. No, Nez isn't thinking about what I'm doing yet. Nez gonna do what Nez wants to do. What are you gonna do, Nez? A lot of friends in the audience. I honestly, I wasn't sure if anybody was going to be here for this one because it was so last minute. So thank you all for showing up. Really appreciate it. All right, so he took Ayuk. I could go, and I think I'm going to go with the easy Super Bowl. I don't know. Is this, am I being too simple here? It's too simplistic to want to draft. Now the tough thing here, I'm going to do it, and we'll talk it out from there. I'm going Debo. I'm going Purdy. All right, so here is where it gets tough. Is I need to advance this team. So neither of these players, Purdy and Debo, because they have the bye in round 1, I'm not going to get any points out of Purdy or Debo in round 1. So now I'm immediately thinking of who else can I get? So I'm going to have to draft a second quarterback, or at least that's the way I do it. I have heard some, I think sacrilegious I've heard suggest that maybe you can get through the first round without a quarterback because 2 out of 6 get through. I've been drafting the quarterback. I get that it's probably a sharp thing to do. I haven't been taking that risk. I'm not doing enough teams where I'm getting that out there with my stuff. It's probably a good idea, but I have not been doing it. Okay, CB agrees with this play. I think so too. Just with Lamar was already gone, and the Ravens have the best odds to make the Super Bowl. I also think that this is it is also kind of the obvious build. So I could have gone. I guess okay, he did not take Diggs. I could have gone Diggs Allen. Maybe start playing for that a little bit more than I have been. They have good odds making the Super Bowl, and they're also there in the first round. Like they don't have the bye, so that actually probably would have been sharper. I think that I re-ranked according to my earlier plans a couple weeks back, and it might be what's showing up here. Yeah, honestly, with my portfolio to spread out my exposure, I probably should have actually gone the other route. Like I think it makes a lot of sense to go Purdy, Debo if this is my first draft, but because I should probably be spreading out my exposure a little bit more than I have, might have made sense for me given my existing portfolio to go with the Bills stack there. But I've made my bet. I made my bet. I'm going for the Niners making the Super Bowl here. Man, the Eagles have really fallen off. I mean, a lot of injuries there. So now I got to think about what AFC team do I think has a shot to make the Super Bowl? Got a lot tougher for Miami. That one would have made sense for me going for a Chiefs Super Bowl. So I don't want to draft more than 2 quarterbacks, I think. And I could just end up taking another NFC quarterback to get through round 1 and then assume that Purdy is going to get me the rest of the way. I think I typically go with an AFC quarterback for the secondary team that I like to build out. But I don't know that necessarily makes sense or often works out all that well anyway. It would be kind of tough to do. Most of the good quarterbacks are gone. So maybe that's not the way I go. All right, Nez, what are you doing here? You got Kyron to get you through round 1. Oh, he's building out for Miami, Philadelphia. See, I was thinking about taking Tua here, Nez. I got to say, I guess even if you could still take Jalen Hurts, even if I do go Tua, but I don't know that that's what I want to do anyway. All right, looks like I don't have any Niners to choose from. I could still go Chiefs. That actually probably makes sense for me to do here. I could go Chiefs and then just go with a one-off quarterback to help me get through the first round. I could also go Mostert, Waddle. I think those are my best options here. Chiefs or Dolphins, but I think the Chiefs, given how bad the Dolphins are, like they're so banged up right now, they have so many injuries. I think the Chiefs make more sense for me. Obviously, I can't go Mahomes. He's already taken. I'll have to just take a one-off quarterback, most likely, or maybe build out for another AFC team. What do you think? Am I being too basic here? I feel like I'm being kind of basic going with oh, I do. CB says Cleveland. I actually really like that. I've done it a bunch of times. The Cleveland as my secondary stack. They have pretty good odds of making the Super Bowl, and they don't get drafted all that early. And they've been awesome with Flacco. I do not dislike that idea one bit. What are you guys drinking? You got anything? I'm bringing some Maker's Mark on the rocks here. My go-to. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, CB says I think San Francisco KC going to be very popular. I agree. So it might have made sense for me to do something different, but trying to Glenval went with Cleveland. So I missed my opportunity to just go straight off the Flacco, Cooper, Njoku, Jerome Ford. Like it is it's easy to build out, and it actually has pretty good odds of making the Super Bowl or at least making a deep run. So that could have made some sense for me. It's interesting. So this is actually the first draft that I've done since we know what the playoff matchups are. So it's different drafting now that we actually know the playoff matchups. Ooh la la. Bullet. I like it. I like it. I've had a bullet tasting at a nice little bar here in St. Paul. Gym Money drinking some Gatorade. Yeah, I agree, Eric. Popular. Got to remember, it's not easy to advance San Francisco because of the bye. That is very true. It's a tough one. Yeah, it does I think it does make sense to do it. And then Cleveland pairs well with Kansas City because they're not going to play each other. I agree. I should have actually pulled that up. I should have maybe done that research before starting the stream so I could have it in front of me what the actual, like I think I know round 1, but I don't know beyond that very well. So that's a little bit tough. What are you going to do, Glenval? All right, Nez, I hope this isn't going to upset you. I have no idea if you have taken your quarterback. I haven't been paying attention, but I think it makes sense for me now. I could just go with the one-off quarterback. I could also build for. Does this make any sense for me, or should I be building a second NFC team to go against Kansas City? Go with the Goff. Is there a good NFC stack here? Laporta's hurt. Kind of like the idea of just doing this. Yeah, I'm doing it. Sorry. I think Nez has his. I assume he has his quarterback though. Yeah, he just hurts. All right, he's fine. Not going to upset Nez. I assume. Old Forester 1910. I don't think I know Old Forester 1910. Ooh, milk with Oreo. It has been a long time since I've had milk with Oreos. I used to when I was like a teenager, I would fill up a big old glass of cold milk and put like 6 Oreos in it and then just like mash those Oreos. Like I would like make it a whole thing where I'd mash the Oreos into the milk. Okay, Nez, thank you. Glad that didn't upset you. Yeah, CB says NFL reseeding is a pain in the ass. Yeah, it does. It makes it a little bit tougher. I still think like you can, if you actually like put a little bit of effort into it, you can kind of know like what the potential ramifications are of all the different if this team wins, but this team, I don't know. But I have not really done that, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with you, Kyle. And and like I said, I also have not put in the work to really understand that edge. I did pull up. So it's like if the so the Ravens are going to face the lowest seed that advances. The Bills, if they win, are going to face the second lowest seed that advances. If the Bills don't win, then it'd be the Chiefs. It's like it's complicated. I should probably have charted that out. But again, this is kind of last minute. And previously when I was doing this, I didn't try because we just didn't even know like where the different teams were going to be seated. So it's kind of impossible to plan for who's playing who in which round. All right. So now I have a quarterback, a running back, and 2 wide receivers for the first round already. If I make it to the Super Bowl, I have, and it's the Niners. I've got Purdy with Debo, and then if it's the Chiefs, I have two there to build it out. If it is the Dolphins, I have actually just one, and I don't think there are any more Dolphins for. It's a hard thing with Miami. Yeah, I could add Cedric Wilson later if I wanted to. I don't know. Um, All right, so I think I'm mostly building out here for a San Francisco, Kansas City Super Bowl. Got to get through though. I think I probably want one more running back here, at least. I'm trying to decide if I want to Jerome Ford. Does that make some sense? I don't know that Jerome Ford makes the most sense here, but I'm doing it anyway. I feel like I should be building out more for. So I have after this 8, 9, 10. So I only have 2 more. So I should be building out more Chiefs. I think here. Is Justin Watson the next best Chief? That's a tough thing with the Chiefs. Like the Super Bowl I'm building for is not that strong. Maybe I build out more here for the early rounds. Nah, I'm just gonna do it. See, maybe this is why I don't have success in playoff best ball because I'm kind of lost is what I'm doing now. I sometimes they come together really nicely and I feel great about my team. Here, building for a San Francisco and Chiefs Super Bowl. Ideally, I'll have more than 5 players from those 2 teams, but also the remaining players from both of those teams suck, and the remaining players from the Dolphins suck, or they're not going to project well in the Super Bowl. All right, Glinval kind of punishing me here for not taking another Niner there. I do have a full Super Bowl roster. If it is San Francisco, Kansas City, I got Purdy, Pacheco, Debo, Rasheed Rice, Justin Watts. It's a good enough Super Bowl roster, and Justin Watson can put up points in the first round, but I don't feel like I'm putting together. This is not my best draft yet. Pat's Legendary Upside site has a tool that gives you odds of X team to play in the conference title. That's interesting. I've listened to some of their streams and I've looked at some of their stuff. I have not looked at everything that is on the Legendary Upside website, so that is helpful. I should check that out. Definitely, they've done a lot of really cool best ball stuff. Definitely, Dennis. No, I'm in Minnesota, in St. Paul, Minnesota. How about you? Are you in Wisconsin? Do you have access to? Oh man, I'm blanking on the name. The Wisconsin beer that they can't sell anywhere outside of Wisconsin. Spotted Cow. Spotted Cow. Do you have access to Spotted Cow? Remaining players who suck are great. That's true. Like if you get to the Super Bowl, I probably could have waited until like the final round to draft Justin Watson instead of taking him with my 8th round pick. I actually like this idea of CB taking Tampa guys. Could make sense for my like. I mean, they're probably not making it to the Super Bowl. I guess you could build out for a Tampa Super Bowl. I feel like it's fairly unlikely, but I guess stranger things have happened. Oh shit, is it me? I am on the clock. All right. I could do it here. No, I think I'd rather have Cup here than to get me through the first round, and then another Chiefs player. Who do I want here? Richie James, Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney. I have no idea who that. I think they've said Justin Ross is going to get more run going forward. Kind of feel like Kadarius Toney. I'll stick with Richie James. I don't feel great about this team, if I am being honest with you. This is not one of my stronger playoff best ball teams, I think. But it's live. It's got the players. It's got 6 for a potential Super Bowl. It's only missing 2 from the first round, so I think it could work. Yeah, as Nez says, I mean this is why I took Cup. Jim says I should have taken CEH. I thought about taking CEH. Wait, do I have? Oh, no, I took Pacheco. Okay, I did take Pacheco, right? I was going to say, do I not have a running back? Okay, I've got Pacheco. So I have the running back for that specific build for Chiefs 49ers. Fantasy Pros Draft Assistant. I do not remember when I used Fantasy Pros Draft Assistant. I must have used it at some point in the past. I don't remember it. All right, so we got through. Let's see how this team looks now. All right, so first round, I've got Tua, Pacheco, Ford. I think that's fine. Rashee Rice, Jalen Waddle, Justin Watson, Cooper Kupp, Richie James. Yeah, I think that is. I think this team is a relatively weak first round team. So I think this is a team that benefits from Cooper Kupp. If I were drafting like Dallas and I had CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Brandon Cooks, like you maybe don't need it as much, but I feel like this is a fairly weak first round team. I guess it does have Rice and Waddle, who both have big upside, but I feel like it's not the best first round team. Second round, we add in obviously Purdy and Debo. There's a good chance that we lose Cooper Kupp. I'm building for Kansas City making it. So assuming that gets there, I think Cleveland has a good shot of winning in the first round. And then conference championship, obviously I'm building for San Francisco, Kansas City. Anybody else I get is bonus. And then in Super Bowl, I have Purdy, Pacheco, Debo, Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, and Richie James. So I've got 6 players for a 5-person Super Bowl roster. I think that's good enough, covers enough combos. And if we view the full draft, let's see if there's any teams that don't have a shot here. So we got this Glenvall drafted Brandon Ayuk, and then I took Debo and Purdy. He probably was hoping that one or both of them would make it back to him, but he pivoted pretty easily to a Buffalo Super Bowl. So he's got for the Super Bowl Ayuk. He also, I know, took Juwan Jennings. He has Kincaid, Cook, and Josh Allen. So he's got his Super Bowl team built out. He's got enough players for the first round. Nez has Jalen Hurts as his quarterback with AJ Brown, and Dallas Goedert also has a really nice. So he's got 3 from the Eagles. Wait, does he have 4? Sorry. AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Swift, and Dallas Goedert. So he has 4 from the Eagles, gives him the opportunity to build out multiple AFC teams for a potential Super Bowl. So he has Tyreek Hill, Devin Achane from Miami. From Baltimore, he has Justice Hill, OBJ, Isaiah Likely. I like his team significantly better. He's also got Kyron Williams there. I really like your team, Nez. Well done there. Brian G, he did the double quarterback thing, which I don't think I don't do it a ton. Maybe I don't do it as much as I should, but I don't usually do it unless I took one of the bye week quarterbacks. He did, so he has the top pass catcher. If you consider Kelsey, that's still CeeDee Lamb and Travis Kelsey. He has Mahomes and Dak Prescott. He's got on Dallas, so he's got Dak, CeeDee, Ferguson for Dallas. He has Mahomes, Kelsey for Kansas City. All right, so what is he building? What is the plan here? All right, so he's got, if it is Dallas, CeeDee, Dak, Ferguson. So he needs a running back from a different team. His running backs are, so he has Mostert. Does he have another Miami player? He can't build out a full roster with Miami. Tampa is in the NFC, so he cannot build out a full Super Bowl roster with Dak. With Mahomes, he has just Kelsey. Then he could, if he has enough Tampa, he has Rashad White with Mike Evans. Doesn't look to me, unless I'm missing something, I don't think he can build a full Super Bowl roster. So even if things go perfectly for Brian, I think he's left with just 4 players in the Super Bowl. So that is not my favorite. BTX has Lamar Jackson with Zay Flowers, Gus Edwards for Baltimore, and Mark Andrews. He's gonna have a tough time making it through the first round because he has Lamar, Flowers, Edwards, Andrews, and Eli Mitchell all out of the first round. So in the first round, all BTX has is Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tony Pollard, Devontae Smith, Puka Nacua, and Matthew Stafford. I think that it's a good build for if you're building for that double bye Super Bowl. I think he did a good job of building out for that. It's really, really tough to get 5 through, but that was obviously what he was going for there. I think he built out a strong team for that scenario. And then our first overall was Bendy, took McCaffrey, took George Kittle. So he has that. So he also can't build out a full Super Bowl, I assume, because he has Jared Goff as his only quarterback, and obviously in the same conference as the Niners. So he loses these two if Goff makes it to the Super Bowl. So let's see if he can even. So he has Goff, Laporta, Gibbs, Williams. Okay, so he built for a Super Bowl that does not include the Niners. I guess theoretically the Niners could be good enough to get him to the Super Bowl, to propel him there, and then they don't make it to the Super Bowl. So I guess this works out if he built for a Detroit Super Bowl going against the Bills would be ideal for him with Diggs, Davis, and Khalil Shakir from Buff. Oh, and Leonard Fournette from Buff. So he actually, this was well thought out for a Super Bowl that, the Niners get him there, but then don't actually make it to the Super Bowl themselves. That's interesting. All right, getting back to chat, and then I kind of want to jump into a weekly winners. It is much less stressful, I would say, to do weekly winners than these playoff best ball drafts, and I'll go over some of the reasoning there. Tampa would also likely knock out your San Francisco guys before the conference championship. Yeah, I didn't go there, right? Yeah. Oh, you live in Appleton, Wisconsin. Yeah. I've been to Appleton. I'm fairly sure a few times. Can't really tell you anything about it, but I'm fairly sure I've been there. Yeah, CB says he has Lions losing. I really hope the Lions don't lose. I'm like cheering hard against the Bills and the Rams in the first round because they're going to screw me up because they have a lot of high scoring fantasy players who I was not expecting to make the playoffs. They can really ruin a lot of my playoff best ball exposures. Den, good to see you. Nez, I agree with you. That room was great. There's only one team that to me doesn't really make a ton of sense. Yeah, Churchill says you never really feel great about Chiefs teams in this. Yeah, I don't feel great. I don't feel great about my Chiefs team. So that is accurate to my experience. Do you guys have any interest in doing weekly winners? They go pretty fast. I really enjoy them in part because I think they are super easy. It's really tough to screw them up, and I think a lot of people screw them up anyway. That's want to go to drafts. I think that a lot of people, it's less interesting because the most you can win in a given week is $5,000 in weekly winners. So that is the downside of the format. I have a bunch more comments that I had not seen, had to scroll down. Thank you, Kevin, for joining. One thing, did I draft both Chiefs and... You're right. I did draft both Chiefs, and yeah, that was not great. So it was not my best draft. That is actually a really good point that Kyle makes here. I should have thought more about that. Yep, you're right, Kyle. That was a mistake, to be honest. To draft that way. Yeah, you're right, CB. I should have done ahead of time a bracket for this. And SC Honestly, I have not planned ahead for doing a DK best ball show, but why not? I'll probably give it a shot now that sounds like it's a somewhat new format. They've adjusted things a little bit. Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, Kyle's totally right. I had thought about it ahead of time. Like I need to be cognizant of this stuff, and it's so hard when you're on the clock if you have not like prior to it thought through. So a lot of it's, as I said, I haven't really drafted at all since we had the playoff seeding like all sewn up now, and that was not great from that perspective. From a they're like, this team is not going to have a ton of live players even in the best case scenario for the conference championships. All right, I'm going to try weekly winners, and I'm going to start by just explaining what it is. So for those of you who did not play any weekly winners for the regular season, I loved it for that, because so weekly winners is you draft with a team of, or a group of 6 players. So just like best ball, in that sense, you're drafting with 5 other people. It's just people who sign up at the same time as you. But then you're immediately, rather than just like in the first round, you're playing against these 6 people you draft with, you're immediately, for every round of the playoffs, you are playing against every other team in the contest. So it's going to be 11,160 teams total in the contest. And you draft your team of 10 players. And after the draft, that team you have live for every single round of the playoffs, resets every week. So every team advances, everybody starts with 0 each round of the playoffs. So the very first round of the playoffs, if you draft anybody from Baltimore or San Francisco, you're just going to get zeros from those players. It's not going to hurt you in terms of advancing, though. Every team advances. And every single round of the playoffs, as you can see here, 100,000 in total prizes, but it's 25,000 each week. So it's basically a new GPP each week with the roster that you build. It's 5,000 a first, 3,000 a second, 2,000 a third, and so on, all the way down to, if you're not in the top 100, you just get your money back, is the best case scenario. So it is tough. It is very top heavy. But what I love about this type of contest is, and I found it for the regular season too, I don't really think people are building optimally for this. I believe pretty strongly that you should be building for specific weeks in mind. I actually believe that for the regular season too, you should think about like, which are the weeks that I want to build for. Then you can game stack for those weeks. You can find teams in the best possible matchups, etc., etc. I did not make money in the regular season weekly winners contest, but I cashed several times, which it's a very top heavy payout structure. So cashing several times, I felt pretty good that I had a good approach there. For playoff weekly winners, it's even simpler because there's just 4 weeks. If you are building for round 1, you avoid Baltimore, avoid San Francisco, take teams that are in good matchups. That is not how I've been playing. So the way that I approach this is I go into the draft with the intention of building for a specific Super Bowl matchup. And I'm just thinking about how many combos can I get if these 2 teams make the Super Bowl? That is usually what I go into the draft. I get through the first couple rounds, figure out which teams I have lined up well, and then I just try to build out for that specific Super Bowl. Doesn't always work out, and sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, okay, anybody who's good from Miami is gone. I guess I could take all of like Robbie Chosen and Cedric Wilson and all of the like back end Miami guys. Sometimes I opt to, at that point, say, you know what? I think I have enough players, enough combos for the Super Bowl. I'm going to build for the conference championship, and I throw in some studs on teams that I think could make it, or better players on teams that I think could make it to the conference championship. So I kind of adjust as I go sometimes, but I always enter in weekly winners with the idea that I'm going to be building out for a Super Bowl. And as you can see here, this one I know for sure. I re-ranked these players just with the assumption, because at the time that I started doing this, I don't think people were really planning for the Super Bowl. So it was really easy to just draft for San Francisco, Baltimore Super Bowl, which is the most likely Super Bowl. And I just did that over and over a few times. Now it's changed. Now Lamar is going at the 3rd overall in terms of ADP. I should probably, if I knew how to reset this back to ADP, maybe I would do that at this point. I'm not sure if that is possible. But you can see that was kind of my strategy for a while. I was just like, all right, well, first of all, I'm building for that Super Bowl, but also I know that both San Francisco and Baltimore are going to make it to the second round. So obviously I'm dead for the first round if I draft for those teams. But there's 100% chance that both of those teams are going to be live in the second round. A lot of teams are going to be missing players by then. There's a good chance that both teams make it to the conference championship. So at that point, you have 2 teams of the 4 teams in the conference championship making up your entire roster. So I really like the idea of building for later and then kind of moving backwards from the Super Bowl to conference championship. If the Super Bowl build doesn't work, then maybe move back to the divisional round. And then finally, I've never actually built for the first round specifically, but that could be a final approach. Denton says, all this strategy just for the slappies to win all the money. You are absolutely right. That is 100% going to happen. It's going to be the slappies who drafted the Bills when they had a 10% chance of making the playoffs, and it's going to tilt me beyond belief. See, Tolan, the issue with the Dallas Buffalo Mega Stacks is you could have done it like got literally all of the best pieces a few weeks back. So now you're drafting against everybody who built earlier, and you're going to be at a disadvantage there. Yeah, Kevin, let's hit this weekly winner. Oh, just go to rankings and clear. That's a good idea. Well, too late for this one, but that is a good idea. Seems possible. Oh, I drafted. I didn't see that I had been on the clock even. All right, well, that's all right. I got Debo. I'm happy with Debo. Not as happy now that both I guess now I can build for a San Francisco and some other AFC team making it to the. Yeah, I really need to refresh what I'm doing here. All right, he took Josh Allen. I'll continue with my San Francisco build. Now, what other AFC teams? I guess the same ones we were looking at last time. Cleveland's still there. Houston's still there. So we got some other AFC teams to build for that I think have some shot of making the Super Bowl. Or as we can look. Ravens, best Super Bowl odds by far. And then from the AFC, we drop down to the Browns, have a 9% chance. The Bills, who are Josh Allen's gone, but 10%. Chiefs, 9%. Texans all the way down at 4%. Dolphins have really, I guess they are hurt. So that kind of makes sense. I was debating whether I was going to take Josh Allen or Kittle with this spot. So CB made it easy for me there. So at this point, I'm not going to take a Baltimore. I'm not going to play for a Baltimore Super Bowl because Lamar is already gone and Purdy's already gone. So I got to build out for a different type of Super Bowl. I've also already done that one in the original weekly winners. We are now in the weekly winners too, which is it's the exact same structure, payouts, everything. Ooh, he took Diggs. That's got to hurt for CB. All right, who else do I like from the AFC? Could go Kelsey Pacheco. Also, who has quarterbacks here? Need to think about when the quarterbacks are going to go here. See, this is a spot where if one of these teams takes Mahomes, suddenly it's going to be tough. Like I'm not going to be able to build out the nut Super Bowl probably. So maybe then that is where I adjust and say, you know what, now I'm going to build for a conference championship. And what can I do? Who are teams that could potentially make the conference championship? And this is where it would be helpful for me if I had charted it all out. Yeah, I don't know that Gabe Davis is. I don't know. I don't know what to make of a sprained PCL. Don't know much about it. Gator takes Amari Cooper. All right, who is CB going to take? Isaiah Likely. All right. I am just going to make it easy and go with Mahomes. Build out once again for that Kansas City, San Francisco Super Bowl. It's boring, but don't hate it. I also, one thing that I frequently do, and I think not a lot of people do this, is if Pacheco goes, I will often just build out for I'll build out for Eli Mitchell and Jordan Mason and just hope that San Francisco gets to the Super Bowl and Christian McCaffrey is hurt going in, gets hurt during the Super Bowl, and one of those backups. No, I never wish injury. At that point, I am hoping for a blowout where they break off big runs in the second half. Obviously, not hoping for injury, but you build out for it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Titletown in here. Titletown, who took down, I want to say $300,000 last year on drafters in the main contest. Good to see you, Titletown. Took down first place, whatever it was, whatever the first place prize was last year. Titletown took that one down. I have never been competitive in drafters. I had one of my 15 entries cashed this year, so maybe need some tips there. Parker, is you do you go by BP? Or is this a different person? As you can see here, I build out for Eli Mitchell. All right, let's see. I need some running backs from Kansas City, San Francisco. Here, I'm just gonna. Oh, I've got Rashee Rice. That's where I'm going. See, this lineup gonna be dead. Like most simulations, most life simulations, this lineup is going to be dead at all turns. It's not going to be live in the first round. I took 2 first-round buys. This needs Kansas City to advance beyond the first round. Obviously, I think they've got a good shot. I don't think Miami is looking too hot right now. They're not at full strength. It also has 0 running backs currently. So I've got 2 stud receivers, 2 of the better receivers from each team. So I think at this point, take some shots at running back. Hope that one of these teams is maybe not at full strength in the running back position. Denden, I don't think I knew that you were a KC homer. Who does your brother think is going to win, though? That's what I really want to know. Does your brother think KC is going to win? All right. So this is honestly, I probably haven't done too many iterations of Kansas City, San Francisco. So it's not my favorite, but I think this is fine. Would have liked to have gotten Pacheco here since I didn't have CMC, but making do with what the room has given me. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This is very, very last minute, so was not sure that if I was going to be here by myself. Really cool to have people playing along, talking with me while I'm here, drafting against me, etc. Appreciate it. Because it can get pretty boring talking to yourself sometimes. I mean, I kind of like drafting anyway, so I'll be entertained, but it's more entertaining when I have other people here drafting with me, talking with me, drinking with me, etc. Makes a more fun Monday night. Who's better, Mason or McKinnon? Probably be able to get both of them, so I'll go Mason. Now, at this point, should I be adding another receiver? Maybe. I don't know. You can only score 2 running backs at the most. So, in general, not a good idea to really load up on running backs. But since I'm building for a specific Super Bowl and I already have like the studs, everybody except for Ayuk from both the Chiefs and the Niners, I think I'm more okay building out for a bunch of different potential running backs to get in there. Kevin's got a Bills and Cowboys in a different draft, not in this one. Nice. I probably lost some good money drinking and drafting. If I'm being honest with you, SC, it's already tough enough. These playoff, but like it's a totally different animal than regular season. I feel like regular season pretty straightforward. I'm trying to draft for my team. If I can get some like week 17 correlation, it's great. But I also don't think it's as much of a priority as far as the game stacks go as some do. So it's really low pressure for me drafting regular season best ball. Playoff best ball, you can really screw these things up pretty easily. So more pressure here, but it's a good time. And then actually, weekly winners kind of takes that pressure off. Like it's really hard to draft like dead teams immediately in weekly winners. It's possible. Like I think if you're drafting for the if you draft a bunch of Steelers and then also take Ravens, yeah, you're probably dead. Like that's just never going to be the lineup that you need. Where do I go? I've already got the two better San Francisco pass catchers. I think I'd rather build out for KC pass catchers here rather than Jawan Jennings. I'm going to go Justin Watson. I think I took Richie James last time. All right, so let's see what other people are doing here. All right, so SeaWorld is building out for. Could this be a conference championship team? A lot of the time, you just see that there is like zero plan for these teams. Maybe this is a first round team. It's got Detroit and the Rams, Seapole. So Detroit, the Rams playing against each other in the first round. Doesn't have any first round bye players, so I guess that could be a first round build, arguably. Tua and Flacco. It's got Waddle. I think people have gotten better at this over time, but still not great necessarily. This, I mean, what's the plan here? Brock Purdy took Dak Prescott in the third round, so we went Brock Purdy, Kyron Williams. That's already like okay. These two are only going to play in the same round if the Rams move on to the second round, which is possible. They could move on to the second round, but not. I think they're less likely. They're have less than 50% chance. I haven't looked at that, but I believe they have a less than 50% chance of beating the Lions. So already your first and second pick probably not going to be playing together in the same round. And then you go with another quarterback in the third round. I don't love that. And then does he have any correlation? Does he have San Francisco or Dallas pass catchers? No. So I don't love that one. Could be. I mean, it's happened to me before where I've entered one of these drafts, and with weekly winners in particular, it can take a while for them to fill. So sometimes it's very possible that he just didn't actually draft this team. But that's probably dead for winning any rounds. CB took Josh Allen, Cook, Kincaid, Shakir, Sherfield. So he definitely had a plan. He's going heavy on Buffalo, and if Buffalo faces Tampa this could actually he has a few Baltimore players, a couple Baltimore players, so they're not going to be there in the first round, but it's probably live for a first round win. Also, maybe the second round it's going to look even better. Oh, he also has Ayuk, so he has three players who are on bye in the first round. So probably not best for the first round. This might be a better divisional round team. I think San Francisco obviously already in, Baltimore already in, Buffalo good odds of making it to the divisional round. Tampa not the best odds. So I don't know if he built out with that plan in mind, but they've still got a shot of making it to the second round. They're playing the Eagles, right? So it's not they're playing the Eagles, who are honestly not looking good. They were my Super Bowl pick coming into the year, and I have been slow to get off the Eagles train and probably should have a lot earlier. But I guess Tampa does have a real shot. So that's a good second round team, I would say, for CB. Dog has Lamar with nobody, naked Lamar. Okay. Hill, Diggs, they're not playing each other in the first round, so they could both make it to the second round where Lamar is. Pacheco cannot make it to the second round with Tyreek Hill, so that's not ideal. Similarly, Achan. Yeah, I don't know what the plan was here. Also has Laporta, who might make it back for the playoffs, but who knows? Seapole, Start with the quarter. He has Tua and Flacco. He has Waddle. He has Ford. Nobody else from Cleveland, so he has Flacco with just Ford as a pairing partner. Tua with Waddle, Mostert. Doesn't look like it's a Super Bowl build here. He's obviously got a bunch of different teams represented, which doesn't necessarily mean that he isn't building for the Super Bowl. You can build out for multiple different Super Bowl scenarios, but doesn't look like he built out for a Super Bowl. I guess maybe a first round. We don't have a single buy in this one. So maybe this is a first round build. Like I already said that earlier. All right. So this is interesting. SeaWorld built out for looks like a Baltimore. Okay. Looks like he started with the San Francisco Baltimore Super Bowl in mind, and largely stuck to it. So he has McCaffrey and Darnold, I guess, are his only San Francisco. So he took 3 different quarterbacks. That's tough. He's got a couple Baltimore players, does not have. I don't know that he built out for a Super Bowl. Maybe this is a conference championship or a divisional round team. I don't know. What should we do next? Should we do another get back to the Gauntlet? Is that more fun? What do people want to see? All right, let's see. How you do in best ball this year? Terribly, Chris. It was not my year in best ball. I thought I had figured it all out. Last year, I got a couple teams to the final for the first time. Best Ball Mania 3. This year, I did not. I had one team that made it to the semifinal, the one that I drafted with Pat Carrain. So probably Pat Carrain carried me to there. It was a Baltimore San Francisco team, so it had Purdy and Lamar as the quarterbacks. They were playing against each other in week 16, which didn't love, but also had nice leverage on Christian McCaffrey. That team got crushed. Like didn't really come all that close to advancing. But then everybody on the team went off in week 17. So if it had somehow made it to week 17 in like a really weak pod, it actually would have gotten second. Obviously, that assumes that none of the other Lamar teams make it to that round. So it's there's a lot, a whole butterfly effect there. But yeah, that was the closest I've had. All right. A plus asks Neil, will you start talking daily fantasy on here? Maybe eventually, not in the short term, but I want to keep talking fantasy sports in a bunch of different ways. In the short term, I mean, this week is really going to be my last chance, I think, to talk about best ball for a while. Ricky wants me to do drafters. I'll get to drafters in a little bit. I'll probably do this stream for another hour or so at least. So I'll do some drafters also, because it's a fun little type of contest. Glad to hear that you are enjoying the insights, Essie. As you can see here, like I have not entirely figured this out. Like I would not say that I have solved playoff best ball. I have an idea of what I'm trying to do, and then I get into the drafts, and I have not really mastered the actual approach to the drafts. The last draft, the first Gauntlet draft I did, it's live, like it has a full Super Bowl, but as Kyle pointed out, I'm going to be losing players. Like it is impossible for me to field 10 players for the conference championship. So it is tough in that regard. All right. I think I'll do a gauntlet first. Maybe I'll do one more gauntlet, one more weekly winners, and then jump over to drafters. How does that sound? I'm going to do another gauntlet right now. If you want to get into a gauntlet with me, you can follow along when I'm joining. Unless they already filled. Somebody also asked if I've done any mittens. I have. I guess I could do that too. All right, we are in the gauntlet. All right, what do I want to do here? What do you guys think? I should go back and clear my queue and rankings and get this back to ADP. Let's see if I can do that now. Fell. Oh, too many damn slates. All right, let's see here. And then I can clear. Also do it for weekly winners. Okay, good. I'm all cleared. I'm all cleared at this point. Better to have an idea of what everybody else is going to be doing. Did any of you get into this one with me? I don't see Nez in here anymore. I don't know everybody's screen name, so I don't know if you're in here with me. Yeah, Eric, I have done a few mittens, but not. I've been mostly focused on the gauntlet. Probably should just do more mittens. All right, he took McCaffrey. Do I go Dallas? The beautiful thing about Dallas is it's super easy to build out. So yeah, I'll do it. I'll do the basic thing and take the next best in terms of ADP. Lamar gone for a while. I was building out a ton of Ravens Eagles also for the Super Bowl. Thought that was fun to build for that scenario. It also used to be really easy to get every Raven you wanted whenever you wanted them for a while. Where does Dak go? Man, Dak goes pretty late. That's interesting. Have an idea who I want here, but all right, I think I'm going to do it. I have not built out a ton of Buffalo stacks. So here I think it makes sense for me to go Buffalo. I think actually somebody suggested doing this very thing earlier. I think it makes some sense for me. Oh man. All right. Well, ZSAF just decided to screw me. All right. It's not ideal. Do I want to do this? Yeah, I guess. Taking Cook here. So this is kind of thing that could happen in these drafts. What is he doing? All right, let's see. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I guess again, he could be building for McCaffrey to help him to the Super Bowl, but then Dallas actually gets to the Super Bowl. I was kind of assuming that he would not take Dak way ahead of ADP when he already has Christian McCaffrey, but you know what they say about assuming things. They say you shouldn't do it. Is there anywhere to view what the winning playoff best ball lineup looked like from last year? That's interesting. Jim says that Underdog posted it, their winner from last year. So last year, you got to keep in mind when looking at all of these contests. Last year, we did have both bye week teams make the Super Bowl. So it is a very specific scenario. Like it's not going to happen all that often. Of course, they are the two teams that are the likeliest to make the Super Bowl once again this year. But it's still fairly unlikely that both bye week teams make the Super Bowl. So keep that in mind when you are looking at last year's teams. It's a very, very specific type of build that wins in that scenario. All right, that was going to be my backup. I was going to go there. You guys are just killing me here. All right. What other quarterbacks are there? I guess I could build for Detroit Super Bowl, Detroit Buffalo. Is that what I want to do here? I don't love it. Is he going to take David Montgomery just to continue the bit, just draft to screw me? No. All right. He's building out for Dallas KC, maybe. Montgomery's all the way down at 39 ADP. Laporta 41. Part of me wants to now build out for a Dallas Cleveland. Like, could I do a backdoor, like multiple different, probably building out for too many teams at that point. I don't know. It might have been a good idea to go to build Cooper there. I can get Flacco pretty late. Try to build out there for Dallas Cleveland, maybe more likely than Detroit Buffalo. I don't know. It's tough sometimes, but I do have all of the Cleveland parts left, which is always nice. Yeah, I mean, he only did it once, I think, right? Or did he do it again? I think he just did it for the Dak Prescott and Tony Pollard part. Yeah, and then he just went. I mean, at that point, he's building for Dallas, so he wasn't really sniping with the Cooks pick. All right, so now I need to start thinking about who do I not want. So I clearly don't want any Rams because I'm building out for Detroit Super Bowl. I don't want any Steelers, which never did anyway. And then Dallas. Who is Dallas playing? Packers. So I don't want any Packers either. Mostly want Detroit Buffalo. Of course, now we've got some big question marks with Gabe Davis and Sam Laporta. Makes it a little tough. Laporta might make it back for the playoffs. It seems a little bit unlikely, but maybe. Oh, I've been running out plenty of Flacco. Yeah, I've been all aboard the Flacco train. Could take Laporta here. Go with Jameson Williams. Got my Kincaid. Shakir will look better if Gabe Davis is out. I think I just go with Laporta here because Gabe Davis, I just not sure when he's coming back. Seems like Laporta is likelier to come back sooner than Gabe Davis. Maybe I'm wrong about that. That's my read on the situation currently. Jake Ferguson, he continues to build out that Dallas stack. Gus Edwards. All right, now I'm going to go Kincaid. Detroit, Buffalo. I think Detroit, I mean, they're, I assume, the favorites over the Rams. Buffalo, the clear favorites over the Steelers. So both these teams have clear-ish paths to the Super Bowl. Although Detroit, I mean, let's see. Detroit is the 3 seed. So yeah, they're unlikely. They're not going to play. They're not going to play the 49ers in the divisional round because it's going to be either both the Buccaneers and the Eagles. One of these teams is going to win, and they're going to be a lower seed than the Lions. So yeah, Detroit's got a relatively easy path to Super Bowl. This is, to me, it's a low probability, but like every stack is a low probability stack. So the fact that I'm building out for Detroit Buffalo, like I've done worse drafts, I think, than building out for Detroit Buffalo. I think it has pretty good odds of at least making it to the second or either the divisional round or even the conference championship round. I think it's thin to get to the Super Bowl and have 5 active players, but I think it's got a good shot of making at least the divisional round and possibly the conference championship round. Yeah, this is what I've been hearing about Laporta. Whereas PCL seems a little bit scarier than decent chance of moving on. Does there come a point where Gabe Davis becomes a good value? Okay, he went, so I don't have to worry about it. I mean, they're saying Waddle's going to play the next round. It doesn't make any sense. Wait, Miami's playing the Chiefs, so I guess I can get them at least to the second round. I mean, pretty good chance. Decent chance of making it to the divisional round too, I'd say. For how late I just drafted him, I think he's an okay pick. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for a potential Detroit Buffalo Super Bowl. Who do I prefer here? I think I actually prefer Khalil Shakir with Gabe Davis presumably out. Like he's just going to have a bigger role, I would assume, if Gabe Davis misses. I've also got Dalton Kincaid in there for Gabe Davis. So I actually kind of like this particular Buffalo build that I have here, even though I don't have Josh Allen. I think this is better than my last call in the draft, to be honest. Who's excited about the UFL? Any San Antonio Brahmas fans out there? I'm a huge Brahmas fan. I could name several of their players last year. I can't at this point. I've forgotten most of them, but watched a lot of their games. Really was a fan. The funny thing is, I think that I initially liked them because I liked Hines Ward's like energy. Like he just had a good energy about him. Like he was really enthusiastic. I think that was what drew me to the Brahmas. And now he has been replaced by a seemingly better coach. Like I think early on, I thought he seemed like he was a good coach too, and then later in the year, it was like made some questionable in-game decisions. And now they are bringing in Wade Phillips and the whole offensive firepower staff to the Brahmas. So it should be a fun year for the Brahmas. All right, Jameson Williams went. So Detroit, Buffalo. Is there anybody else I want from these teams? I mean, yeah, Josh Reynolds. They're kind of all. I'll take me some Josh Reynolds. Why not? I guess I could have gone. This is probably a good time to start drafting guys. Like I did take Laporta. So if I had not taken Laporta, maybe I'd take the shot on Brock Wright instead. All right. What should we do? Another weekly winners. Does anybody want to draft a Mitten against me? Like if you want me to do a Mitten so that one of you can draft in the same draft with me, I'm happy to do that. I'll give it a second for you guys to hear me and respond. Haven't even looked into the UFL, but I'm most likely going to play it at the beginning and see how I do. Yeah, I had one big hit for the XFL last year. I think I took down one showdown contest, or no, it was a 2-gamer. One a 2-gamer. All right, CB says let's go Mitten. All right, let's do a Mitten. Definitely Dennis wants to do DK. I haven't looked at the structure of DK yet. Maybe I could take a look at it. Let's do a Mitten first though, since we are already here. I'm going to do a Mitten. So let me go find that. And actually, I'm going to take while we're here, I'm also going to make sure that I know the structure of the Mitten because these change all the time. All right, so it's going to be 56,000 entrants in total. How many advance each round? That's the same. The end of round 1, the top 3. Oh, that's right. So this is the one where top 3 out of 6 move on to the second round. So this one is like even easier to get through the first round. You can really build for the Super Bowl. The end of round 2, the top 1 out of your 10-person group move on to the conference championship. Put into another 10-person group. And then at the end of the round 3, the top 1 out of those 10 move on once again. So in this contest, very easy to move on from the first round. Second round, you just have a 1 in 10 chance. Third round, you just have a 1 in 10 chance. And then you are in a 279 person Super Bowl final round for the Mitten. So that's interesting. All right. Now I am about to enter in 3, 2, 1. So if you guys are going to join me, now is the time. All right. Who's in the Mitten with me? CB, is this you from chat? I assume. Drafting right after me. So here it's even more viable. Like if you want to draft for the Niners, but you don't get Purdy, like maybe you can get through round 1 without a quarterback. It's at least possible. All right, CB in here. Good to see you. Sorry to hear that. SC can't get into Underdog. SJ took McCaffrey. I took CD in the last one, built out for the Cowboys. Do I want to go there again? They're so easy to draft for. It's sometimes hard to like what is the likeliest to happen, and also versus like what is the simplest way to draft. And the Cowboys are clearly the one of the simpler ways to draft. I'm just going to do it again and hope that I don't get sniped again. CB going for that Baltimore stack. Or at least CB taking Lamar. I don't want to put words in your mouth, CB, what you're trying to do here. I usually assume if you take Lamar, you're going to build out a Baltimore stack. Has not been the case in all of my drafts, but I'm guessing CB is has a plan here. I was kind of hoping that Josh Allen would fall to me and I'd be able to build out the Buffalo stack with Josh Allen. That did not happen, obviously. So I'm going to hope once again that Dak makes it back to me. We'll see what SJS has in mind. So I pick at 11, 14, and then 23. Interesting. Okay. Could build out for a Chiefs Super Bowl once again. I think I'm going to try to do the same thing I tried to do last time. Didn't work then. But that's just that's a killer combo. Even though Stephon Diggs has not done much recently, he's still very clearly the wide receiver 1 for the Bills. Mahomes, Kelsey. Going Dak. Getting out of the way. On streams like this, it's always dangerous to queue up players. However, I have had the experience of not queuing players up and then things not going as planned because I get distracted or something. So I'm just going to risk that somebody is going to know exactly what I want to do and they're going to interfere with what I'm trying to do. Part of the reason I took Dak there is because I know that they all have similar ADP. Dak and Cook and Pollard all have similar ADP. I want one of those running backs. If I don't get one of those running backs, there are backdoor ways to get a Buffalo or Dallas running back: Leonard Fournette, Rico Dowdle, Latavius Murray. There are ways to get a running back for that Super Bowl scenario on the back end as well. Whereas it's a lot thinner to do that with quarterback. I've done it here and there where I've had to just go back and all right, I'm going to take Clayton Tune, or I don't know, the Cooper Rush would be the Dallas quarterback. I've done that once or twice. I hate to do that because it's pretty unlikely to get a team to the Super Bowl without their starting quarterback. Can happen though. TGS, does Underdog have a 1 million to first playoff contest, or does it top out at 100K like DK? It is 150K for the Gauntlet. That is the top pool on Underdog. SC, it'll be just like on Underdog, where it's like if you enter and you're the last person to enter the draft, I think it's going to be a minute. I actually haven't drafted Underdog, so I'm sort of talking up my ass here, but historically it's whenever your draft fills, they give you a minute or 2 minutes to get into the draft. So yeah, it's like whenever the draft fills, it does happen immediately within a minute or two after all 6 enter. What are you going to do, CB? All right, CB thought about it. He was like, should I screw Neil right now? I don't know. I'm watching the stream. I know exactly what Neil wants to do." But he was nice to me and let me take Pollard. All right, SGS, are you going to go all Chiefs? Who do you take? Oh, I took Rashee Rice. He could go Pacheco here. He's already got McCaffrey. He still needs a first round running back. Okay, it goes Gibbs at the first round. Interesting. All right, now I could just go Cooks here. I could do a secondary. Browns. Should I do that? It's kind of interesting. Dallas with the Browns or the Bills. So here's what I like to do at this point. I'm going to queue up everybody. And this is, again, because I'm live streaming this, maybe not the best idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. Njoku goes. Oh, Dogtown. I bet he did not love that I took the Browns, huh? I rearrange according to the ADP after I add all the teams. This is just, it's not really like a skill thing here. It's just makes it easy on myself. CB, you're building a, looks like a nice Eagle stack there. Lamar with Swift, Devontae. Going to need that first round quarterback. I guess you don't necessarily. This is as we talked about. Like this is 3 out of 6 get through, so you're not as dead if you don't have a first round quarterback. Obviously, it's helpful. Like to give up that position is pretty tough, even when only 3 out of 6 get through. But it's at least feasible. All right. Took my Ferguson. Kind of rude. But I get what he's doing here. He's actually building out. This is a rational lineup to take Ferguson there. That was a rational decision, so I can respect it. And I've still got my Dak, Pollard, CD, Cooks. So Cowboys get to the Super Bowl. If I could take 5 different AFC players from 5 different teams, and if it's Cowboys against that team in the Super Bowl, I've got a full lineup at this point. Obviously, the more, as I said, the more combos you can get, the better for that Super Bowl matchup. But you could, that's another way to do it, is just say, hey, I'm going to take 4 Cowboys, or you can take 5 Cowboys and then take 5 different AFC players. And if you have it structured right, you could have a bunch of different potential Super Bowl scenarios. But you can get pretty thin in some rounds there if you try to do that. Uh, why you take Dallas backup? Are you saying are you calling Pollard the backup RB, or are you referring to when I said I could take Dowdle later? Um, that's funny if you're just making the joke that Pollard is the backup running back. Um, I was on the leaderboard on the Best Ball Mania 4 leaderboard as far as people who took Rico Dowdle the most. I thought that he was, if I'm being honest, I thought he was a better pick than Kyron Williams. I drafted him way more than Kyron Williams. He was drafted in about 1/5 of the teams that Kyron Williams is drafted on. And I thought the Cowboys had a better offense. So to me, Rico Dowdle was a clearly better pick than Kyron Williams. Obviously, did not work out that way at all. I did not look sharp for all my Rico Dowdle picks. That could have been Kyron Williams or Zach Moss, but that was my thought process. I don't think it was necessarily wrong, but it did not work out at all. All right, do I want one more Dallas receiver here? Maybe. Yeah. Gallup has seemed to have overtaken Tolbert. Again, it's been going back and forth a little bit. So now I think I have 5 Dallas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 Dallas players on this team. All right, I see. I'll do DraftKings. I also pulled up drafters here, but maybe I can do a DraftKings also. We'll look quickly at the structure, unless one of you wants to explain the structure of DraftKings to me. I assume it's similar. All right. A lot of Dallas, Cleveland. What do I want here? This is tough. Maybe Elijah Moore. He's been pretty dead. Has not really done much recently, but built a little bit for Cleveland. I'll do it. I'm going to do Elijah Moore. I think he's got spike week upside. Oh, I have another pick too. Okay. I was thinking that was my final pick. All right. I mean, Tyreek, obviously a great pick. Tough thing is I'm not sure of how good Miami is anymore. Like I liked Miami better like a week or two ago. They looked a lot stronger, and then their entire defense got hurt. And now I'm like, is this team going to go anywhere with their entire defense hurt? And a lot of them ruled out already for the wild card round. So it's a little bit tough. You're kind of asking a lot of Dallas, or sorry, of Miami to get through, to get all the way to the Super Bowl. Hopefully they can get healthy after round 1 though. And they're going to Kansas City for the wild card round. So honestly, Tyreek has become, I haven't been drafting him as much, but obviously we can get him in the right spot. Like he's should put up a big score in round 1. He's just a beast out there. So it's just gotten a little bit tougher recently to really believe in Miami going far. Wookie's taken to Marcus Robinson. Interesting. He's got a full-on bolt. He built the lineup that I hope loses in round 1. I hope every single one of these players does not make it to the second round, other than Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's nothing personal. That just would help me a lot if those teams get knocked out. Although I'm drafting Buffalo, so Oh, do I only have one? I only have one Buffalo player on this team. It's Stephon Diggs. So I should probably add another Bills player. Who do I want? Is playoff Lenny? He's moves back to practice squad. Was Latavius Murray? He was actually hurt, right? Taking playoff Lenny because of the name, just because he's called playoff Lenny. All right, I think that one went okay. I don't see any immediate issues with it, but that was a Mitten 4. I think it's got good. I mean, it's obviously 50-50 to make it through the first round at the very least. And I think it has every single one of these players is active for the first round. So it's got a good shot of making it at least out of the first round. Divisional round, I think there's a pretty good chance that Dallas moves on, is still live in the divisional round. Obviously, if they're not, this lineup's going to be dead pretty quick. But I think it's got some firepower with Pollard, Ford potentially making it to the second round. They got a nice matchup with Houston in the first round, so I think Cooper, Ford, Moore all have a pretty good in a good spot for the first round. So I think this has legs. I like it. I think this is a strong enough lineup that could get to the Super Bowl and could have a live team in the Super Bowl. All right, so that is Underdog. Do we want to try one of these other sites? Let's see. Kittle was a bad pick. Want that one back, says CB. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at your team before we move on. So CB, you started building up for a Baltimore Super Bowl. Then you took Kittle. I mean, he kind of fell to you, so I get why you'd want to go there. Maybe try to build for that Super Bowl where it's just Baltimore and San Francisco. Yeah, it looks like you got the 4-person, right? You got Jackson with Flowers, Kittle, likely. You don't have a running back unless I missed it for the Super Bowl. So you're going to be missing a running back in the Super Bowl, but you got the quarterback and then two wide receivers and a flex. So you got 4, and that's I think if those are the teams in the Super Bowl, that's probably fine. You also have for the first round, so your first 3 picks, none of them are going to get you through that first round. But again, 50% of these teams make it through. So you've got DeAndre Swift in the first round, Devontae Smith in the first round. So hopefully the Eagles put up a big score. Rashad White, Godwin, Goddard, and Baker. So you do have enough firepower to get through the first round, even without your first 3 picks. And then, of course, if it gets to the Super Bowl, you'll have a team that is live to put up some points. I think you'll be probably competing with a number of other Baltimore, San Francisco stacks with 4 to 5 active at that point. Maybe not. Maybe they'll get knocked out because it is tough to advance with a bunch of players from a bye. But I think that it's a live team. I think you got enough down there. SJS clearly building for San Francisco, Kansas City, or primarily Kansas City, and then he has it looks like a few NFC backdoor teams. Wookiees building out for Buffalo and the Rams. So it could be this is one that if it makes it to the Super Bowl, probably not going to be a ton of Buffalo and Rams people that built for Buffalo Rams Super Bowl. So it'll be unique in that sense. And then of course, if it's Buffalo, Detroit, so we'll know pretty quickly. One of these teams will be dead. One is auto advanced to the second round. So he's got a couple different builds there. Dogtown built for a lot of NFC with Purdy, Debo, Hurts, AJ Brown, Puka Nakua. Yeah, I don't know. Not sure what the got some AFC later on, but built out with too many NFC teams, I think, but does have Stroud, Edwards from the AFC, Nico. So Stroud with Nico Collins. So if Houston gets to the championship, or I guess if yeah, I don't know. Not bringing much from the AFC side, but if San Francisco or Philly, the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, maybe he's got some firepower there. All right, let's try something else. So it sounds like people want to do DraftKings. Maybe I'll pull in a DraftKings over here. Hang on. All right. Wait, where am I? Oh, here we go. All right. So I've got DraftKings pulled up. So let's take a look. This looks like it is the new contest here. Wait, playoff special, best ball, 500K playoff special. Is this the contest we want to do? Let me look at the rules. Round 1, top 1 of 6 advance, then you're regrouped. Round 2, top 1 of 6. Round 3, top 1 of 6. 136 player final. So this is smaller contest, looks like. It's 1 of 6 for all of the first 3. I guess it's tougher because in the first round, only 1 team gets through as opposed to 2. So that is interesting. 1 of 6, 1 of 6, 1 of 6, 136 player. Interesting. As I recall, it's going to be the same scoring as regular DraftKings. So you do get bonus. You have 300-yard bonus for passing, 100-yard bonus for rushing receiver, and that kind of stuff. So it's a lot easier to put up a lot of points. It's also full PPR. All right, I'm going to enter. So if any of you want to enter DraftKings in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep. Okay. All right. Ooh, I'm on the clock with pick 1. All right, so this is tough because I have the first pick. I'm going to take McCaffrey. But that means, only 1 of 6 get through round 1. So it's really tough to build out a full Niners roster and get it through the first round. I should pull up I should have looked a little bit closer at the rules. What is the structure? So you have a tight end in this one. So you're drafting for, man, I lost where the rules are. Contest details. Got a minute left so I can look at it again. All right. So regular scoring, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. So you have a tight end in addition to the regular positions that are on Underdog. You also have 6 bench spots instead of 5. Okay. I think that's all I needed to know. Let me know if I'm missing anything here. Oh man, sorry, Dennis. Missed out on the draft. He was the one who wanted us to do DraftKings. I am this guy drafting out of the 4 slot. All right. Well, good luck. Oh yeah, there you are. Is that an NFT? We still have a couple NFTs being the profile pictures here. And there's no way to say that I'm ready. On like drafters, you can say I'm ready, and it'll if everybody clicks it, then the draft will start sooner. Doesn't look like it's possible here. All right, I think I'm just going for McCaffrey here. It's debatable whether he's actually the best pick when only 1 out of 6 get through, but I'm just going to build for a San Francisco Super Bowl. All right, so we've got Allen and Lamar both go. Debo goes. It'd be really tough because only 1 gets through to build for a full San Francisco Baltimore Super Bowl, I think. Ooh, Purdy goes. Purdy Ayuk. All right, so that's tough. That's tough for me. So I don't think that I really have great Niners. I've got McCaffrey. Maybe Kittle gets back to me, but I already don't have the quarterback for the Niners, so got to build out AFC quarterback stack. Nice start there for I Am the Sky. I am the Kai, not the sky. My bad. Oh, it's me. All right, so I could go Mahomes and Kelsey here, or I could just go Kittle, continue on that NFC stack. What do you think? What's the better? Or did Mahomes already go? Maybe did Mahomes already go? Mahomes already went. All right, so I think Kittle just makes sense since I've got CMC, and you do need a tight end here. So now I can build out for the AFC. I do need a quarterback from the AFC since I don't have one from the NFC. Go Flacco later. I go Tua later. Who can get me through the first round? Also, this is tough. Oh, man, Tyreek Hill's available. All right. I almost missed that Tyreek Hill is available. I mean, not a huge believer in Miami right now, but at the same time, that's an offense that can just crush and get hot and just advance me pretty far. So I'll build out for it. Maybe not the likeliest team to make it, but we'll give it a shot. It's the Rainmakers troll. Who's the Rainmakers troll? Oh, that's who you have as your PFP. I get it. What up, Chase? What's up, Dan? Thanks for joining. Yeah, Chase, this is literally my first DraftKings playoff best ball draft. So I've also been drafting a lot more Underdog. I'm a little bit more comfortable with the format right now. CB building for San Francisco, Cleveland Super Bowl. I kind of like that. It's kind of interesting. All right. I am on the clock. Take Achan. Nobody took Tua, did they? Man, Tua's got a late ADP. I could theoretically probably wait. I'm going to think about that. Hertz is still available. Definitely taking Achan. I think I just do Tua here. It's weird with Hertz still available, but get at least one AFC built out for the Super Bowl. That could take like Cup to help get me through the first round. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Only 1 out of 6 get through, and I have 2 players that are not going to be available in the first round. I think it makes sense to push it a little bit. Worst case scenario, I'm taking Sam Darnold, I guess, for the Super Bowl. Different quarterback to get me through. Ooh, I am the Kai. I just sniped you, didn't I? You took Kyron and Puka. I didn't even realize. Apologies. That's interesting. What with Puka over Cup? Do you think that is that the pecking order now for the Rams? He gets Puka over Cup. Gordinko. Never heard of this guy. Now, this is one of my real life friends. Went to law school with Gordinko. TG, wait, you can time it to be in the same draft with others. Wouldn't that allow a group of people to draft together and cheat? Yes, theoretically, that is a concern. I mean, it's just whoever enters the draft at the same time as you. Yes. So you can. All right, so now I'm taking Tua for sure. And then who else? Hertz is still available. That is nuts to me that Hertz makes it this late. All right, I am going to draft Tua, though, because I already have Tyreek. Is Waddle here somewhere? Yes, he is. Can make sense. I guess I need a first round tight end. Plenty of good first round tight ends available. Actually, not plenty is a big overstatement. There are some available. Hmm. But getting back to this TG, it is a theoretical concern. All of these sites do have like quality control, so they look at the drafts. At least theoretically, they say they do. I believe that they do for the most part. Um, Anything that looks too fishy, I think, will get flagged. So I think it's hard to really draft too many super teams. There's also though, like, you do have to time it right, and it's tough to like get all six. Like if you're trying to do the entire draft, hard to get everybody in without somebody else getting in there at the same time. Good luck, SC, in your next one. Yeah, I think the Rams are very live to beat the Lions, especially with Sam Laporta out. I think the Rams could beat the Lions. I really don't want them to because again, I've drafted a lot of Lions. I have not drafted many Rams because for a while I thought they were extremely fishy to draft. I thought they were getting drafted like early in every draft, even when they had like a 20% chance of making the playoffs. It no longer looks as fishy as I once thought it was, unfortunately. I did not know that Rainmakers had a troll avatar. Interesting. All right. So I've got Raheem Mostert available to me. I also think I just go Goddard here, like get that first round tight end. Could have gone Schultz too. Um, so yeah, now I think I'm. Let's see. Let me take a look at my team. So first round, I've got all the Miami guys. Tua with Hill, Waddle, Achane, Mostert have Miami completely covered. They're not in the best spot against the Chiefs, so it's going to be tough, but I think they're a good enough offense that they could get it done. I've got Goddard there as my tight end. I've also got Cup in there to give me a little bit of insurance for the first round, so I like that. So first round, I think I've got enough firepower to get through theoretically, and then of course I've got McCaffrey, Kittle coming in the second round, bringing some backup for me. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, you've seen me screw things up on the streams, and it's not that much harder to do it on a stream. Like this is just, it's complicated sometimes. You got to think on your feet in these. There are times when I think I do a pretty good job of it, and there are times when I'm like, man, I was not ready for what just came at me, and don't always execute as well as I wish I could. Gotcha. Interesting. So Puka usually goes ahead of Cup. That's interesting. Well, apologies for taking Cup. You could have had both. I did not even think about it. I assumed that Cup would be the first one. I guess Kyron maybe, but didn't think Puka over Cup. I mean, you've only got 1 week to draft playoff best ball, SC. This is, I think, maybe there will be like second round. I think they actually did some of those last year. Like, oh, second chance at playoff best ball after round one. So maybe they'll have another chance. But these will be the bigger prize pools. I do not have much of a plan for my next pick, so I'll start thinking about it. Miami, San Francisco. So I start building up for Green Bay, Miami Super Bowl. It seems pretty unlikely that Green Bay makes a Super Bowl, but the best players are available. Maybe not anymore. Did they just get taken? No, it's Gabe Davis. They're good for the first round. Let's see. Who do they play again? Packers. Oh, they play the Cowboys. So it's a tough first round matchup for the Packers. Bucks better first round matchup. Browns have a great first round matchup. Another benefit of going to the Browns is they do have a great first round matchup. All right, it is me. I could do even with the tough matchup, I could go there. Definitely, I don't. Houston's not a great spot there. Maybe I should just be building out for my Super Bowl a little bit more. Juwan, and then Smythe. I don't know if that makes the most sense here. Then I have one final pick. Could probably take Smythe later if I really wanted to. Where am I weak? Got both Miami running backs, but not much else. I could take Aaron Jones here. I don't hate that. Gives me a little bit more backup. He's been getting a lot of opportunities recently, so now I've got Aaron Jones to go with. Maybe I have too many running backs, though. Maybe I have too much going to the running back position. I probably do. 4 running backs a bit much out of a 12-player roster when you can score at least 2, I guess. But I've got McCaffrey out the first round. I don't know. Probably didn't need to go another running back there. All right, so I am the Kai in chat building out for Baltimore Super Bowl. I mean, ideally Baltimore and the Rams would be great for I am the Kai. Also building out for Buffalo secondary with the Rams or Houston secondary with the Rams. So building out for, I guess maybe those are just players you're trying to get through the first round because you got a lot of the Ravens. So you kind of need some firepower. That makes sense. Nice matchup for the Rams in the first round. So they advance you. Then you get your Baltimore guys kicking in for some backup. Yeah, I had not thought about the revenge aspect of Stafford and Goff. It's funny. I feel like after the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl, everybody was very much like, yeah, that was such a huge upgrade, Stafford over Goff. And now I feel like kind of the people have kind of gone back on that. Maybe they're not all that different after all. Their Goff is a little bit better than we thought. Stafford's been pretty good too, but maybe not as much of a slam dunk Stafford over Goff as we were thinking at one point. Maybe that's not true. I don't know. It's my impression. Do I need a third tight end though? I got Kittle there. Got Goddard. Like those are 2 strong tight ends. Obviously, no Kittle in the first round. Don't know that I need Smythe here. How do you search teams on DraftKings? I don't know. It's easy on Underdog. Players. Player name you can do. Do I go Smythe here? Go Ced Wilson. I've already got the 2 starters. I'm just going to go Smythe. Easy enough. Now we'll take a look at the draft board. I don't hate my team. Like, it's live. It's a long shot. Like, this requires Miami getting to the Super Bowl and then playing most likely the Niners in the Super Bowl. So it's built for a very specific scenario. Definitely a long shot, but it's got a shot. Didn't build out for, I don't know, the Texans making the Super Bowl. Better than that, I think. Got some star power to it. I think pretty good odds of making it through the first round, and then we'll see. Every team is a long shot, though. There's a lot of teams in these contests. Yeah, as CB says, the 1 out of 6 is tough. I agree. Okay, that makes sense. Baltimore Rams for the Super Bowl. Everything else just trying to get through. That makes sense. All right, I'm gonna do one more draft here. Should I do another DraftKings, another Underdog, or another, or do a first Drafters? Because Drafters is a little bit unique. So we could go there, and I could go over Drafters strategy a little bit if people are interested at all. Otherwise, I can just do one of these again. I could do Underdog or DraftKings. First person to give me a site in chat, I'll do that. I'll do that site. SC says he's learning a lot. Glad to hear it. Drafters. All right. Paulino says drafters. Well, that's good. Oh, Jim Money wants drafters. All right. Glad to hear people want to drafters because it's kind of fun doing different types. All right. So I'm going to do the playoff best ball championship. And this one, I believe it's 2 minutes after you join. So I'll just join right away and then talk about strategy. You can see the prize target: 50,000 a first, 20,000 a second, 10,000 a third, and so on. It's going to be a group of 6 in your draft once again. Pre-draft by ADP. Yep. Joining just one. Okay, so I am the first to enter this one. So if you guys want in on drafters, now's the time. Now's the time to get in. All right, so here is what is unique. I'll go over drafters, and I've actually written up drafters strategy. Is on the Stochastic website. And this was published last year. So actually the contest has changed probably a little bit since then. I don't think there's any like drastic changes. Let me see. Want to make sure that I'm in this. I don't navigate this site as easily as the others. All right, let's see. Oh, upcoming. Good. All right, where are we? I'll throw this into chat. If you want to look at drafters strategy a little bit, am I in a draft right now? I'm very confused because I see somebody said you just tried to get in. RIP. Ricky says, is this filled? I don't even see where this team is. I am lost right now. I cannot tell if I'm in a draft. Click on it. Well, I hope I'm in the right spot. Click my team and view draft. My team. View draft. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. 101? Or is this not filled yet? All right. So it is for drafters. So it's you draft 12. It's just like DraftKings in terms of one quarterback, one running back, 2 wide receivers. You have a tight end, and I think there's a flex too. I should have reread, make sure that is correct. But I'm pretty sure there is also a flex spot here. We're waiting on one more, I think, right? So the difference between drafters and Underdog or DraftKings is it's all cumulative. So you draft with the 5 other people in your draft room. And then from there, though, your team is thrown into a pool with everybody else in the contest. And Jim Money says, we are in. Refresh your page. Now it says pre. Okay, thank you. Appreciate you guys showing me how to do this. All right. I'm not going to click this button because I want to finish my thought here. Okay, so I am second overall. See, Jim Money has the 6th pick. So for drafters, unlike DraftKings and Underdog, nobody gets eliminated. So it's you go through 4 rounds just like every other draft, except you are playing against everybody in every round. So still, like, obviously Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson, they're not scoring points for you in the first round, but you also don't get knocked out from getting zeros at those positions. It is still cumulative. It's you can read the article that I just posted into chat. It's a unique format, but it's just cumulative scoring for the entire player. So it is still week scored every week. So it is your highest scoring players at each position, round one, then the same thing round two, round three, round four. It's not like players cumulative score, it is weekly scores. But nobody is ever eliminated. Your team is theoretically live for all 4 rounds. Of course, player teams that get eliminated, they're not scoring points after they're eliminated, of course. All right, he took McCaffrey, number one. I'm going to do the simple thing again and go with CDM with my first pick. Ooh, that was loud. That was really loud in my headphones. All right. Got CeeDee Lamb with the second pick. And hopefully now I'm probably building up for a Dallas Super Bowl. We'll see. We'll see if I am. All right. All right. So you can see I posted my strategy tips from last year into chat. It's largely the same thing, and it's not a super in-depth article. Just kind of gives you some idea of what the approach is here on drafters. Now, I also pulled up, let's see, last year's winning. Okay, maybe it. All right, it refreshed. I had it up at one point, last year's winning team. It's also going to be very much. Is it here? Every page I go to just refreshes to the draft at this point. I guess maybe that's just when you're in a draft they do that. But last year again it was very a unique situation in that we had both bye week teams make it to the Super Bowl last year. Could happen again this year, but that I think kind of is going to impact what the team looks like that ends up winning these contests. Jim building for a Baltimore Super Bowl. Anybody else in here in this draft with me? With me and Jim? You make it in, Ricky? Ricky clearly understands drafters better than I do. I've played a bit of drafters. I had some in the regular season. This year I played playoff best ball on drafters last year, regular season best ball on drafters last year. It still confounds me a little bit. I'm still waiting on my drafters t-shirt. I think it was actually after I wrote this drafters playoff best ball article last year. Oh, that's our fresh. All right. I did not that did not okay. Oh, was it me? Shit. All right. I got CeeDee Lamb. So I don't want one of these NFC players. I could go Kelsey. Build out for a Dallas KC Super Bowl. That kind of makes some sense, I think, especially with the need for a tight end. What you gonna do? Ace high. Interesting. All right, so he took Dak, who I was gonna wait on. Luckily, I have my backup Mahomes here, so I don't need to worry about it. But interesting there that he went Dak after McCaffrey and Kyron. So he's got 3 different NFC teams. It is different. You don't need to worry about being knocked out. But Ricky and I had been, yeah, that's when Jim also did not know that this was the Ricky. Yeah, Ricky and I spent a lot of time together a couple weeks ago in Arizona. That was a ton of fun, and we've been actually talking drafters best ball, playoff best ball strategy in Discord a good amount. So it's good to see Ricky here. Bummer that you did not make it into this draft, Ricky. Yeah, I think it was probably 3 weeks ago at this point. We were both guests of Hishbu at the Fantasy Football World Championship. So that was fun. Ricky lives a former DFS Pro. I don't know if we talked about whether you were ever full time DFS, or I know you have a good full time job outside of DFS, but was definitely one of the players that I know his name from way back when, and now cannot play because he's in Ontario, where DFS on most sites is banned. So had to give up a lot of the DFS. All right, so I've got quarterback, tight end, wide receiver one. I feel like I started a thought and then how are you playing Higbee and Andrews? I've been you can um so I have been drafting Andrews on Underdog in like the last round. All right, got my running back one. Let's do it, Ricky. Let's bring the prop hub to YouTube at some point. Yep. All right. Oh, I can draft Pacheco here too. I think Rashee Rice was taken. But I can go Pacheco. That makes sense. I think still building out fully for, I mean, Dallas and Kansas City, both teams that could put up big scores, and they're going to be live all around. Um, One thing that Ricky and I were talking about earlier today actually was just how in these drafts, the like one-off players from teams that get eliminated in the first round, they can put up like 30, 40 fantasy points and still be more valuable to your team than like the wide receiver three for a team that makes it to the Super Bowl, because you can really even though because it is cumulative scoring. So it's like the fact that they're not scoring points for you in the Super Bowl, it's like not as big of a deal on drafters as long as they pick points up for you at one point. So if there's a team that gets knocked out after the divisional round, but they've already put up 40 fantasy points for your team, like they've still really helped your team out quite a bit. Whereas on Underdog, where it's very top heavy scoring and it's all like what you score in the Super Bowl, it doesn't really help you that much. Like it'll help you advance, but like ultimately it's not going to help you win the contest. Uh, it's different on drafters where those one-off players are more valuable because the first round scoring counts just as much as the Super Bowl scoring. All right, so I've got my quarterback, my tight end. I only have one wide receiver, so I think I need just one more receiver to have my full roster for the Super Bowl and actually here for every round from these teams. All right, I'm gonna go. I could take Ferguson here, add to my Dallas stack, but I think Cup again makes sense here. I do think they have a good shot at winning in round one against Detroit, and it's a great matchup for round. Oh, that's rude. I guess he has that Dallas stack, so I guess that's fine. All right. Could go Cooper. He's good for round one. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Feeling good. Feeling good about this team. Obviously dead if it's not Kansas City Super Bowl, but I like it. I think it's a good strong start at least. Yeah, building out. I guess ace high building out for a Dallas Super Bowl. Looks like Dallas Houston could be plausible. Maybe not worried as much about the Super Bowl just because it is cumulative scoring as opposed to the Super Bowl round making the most difference. I don't know. It's a different kind of strategy for drafters than it is for the other sites. So you can get a little bit weirder here. I still like to build out for a full team every round of the playoffs, but I think you can get away with. I actually think that the team that won last year, I know Ricky and I were actually looking at that earlier today or yesterday. I don't think they actually did have a full roster for the Super Bowl. Now that was again a unique scenario because it was both bye week teams making the Super Bowl. But I think last year it actually worked where it was a team that was missing at least one player from the Super Bowl roster ended up winning the playoff best ball championship on drafters. All right, so I do need one more, at least one more Chiefs or Cowboys receiver for the Super Bowl round if that's what I care about, which might as well build out for it. I was a little bit bummed that he took both Ferguson and Cooks there. Did make sense for him, especially if he's watching the stream and knew that I was going to take one of them with my next pick and probably my next two picks. But still a bummer. Got Pollard and Pacheco, just Mahomes. Okay. Is Watson my best bet here? Or maybe Gallup? I go Gallup. I think he's more likely to get there than Watson, probably. The Chiefs is just such a mess. Stafford and Joku. Okay. Let's see here. Could go Watson. Maybe I continue building out for earlier rounds a little bit more. Could go Godwin. Bateman, Jameson, Williams. Are there any running backs that look great? Oh, Rashad White, actually. I go him over Godwin. Let's do that. Third running back to help me in the first round at least. Probably want to take at least one more tight end. Maybe not. I mean, I'm building for Kansas City Super Bowl, kind of hoping that it's just Kelsey becomes Kelsey again for the playoffs. Maybe, finds that old man strength. I don't know. I'm not that hopeful, but holding out some hope there. Thank you, Brendo. Yeah, 100% agree. Tight end's definitely more premium here, but I think because I already have Kelsey, like I've got my tight end one, and he theoretically I'm building for a Kansas City Super Bowl. Like I'm not, like it's not as high of a priority for me to take a tight end two here. I think because I have Kelsey, but definitely agree with you that tight end's a higher priority here, and DraftKings obviously. Thanks for hanging out while you were here, SC, and CB. I have never played FFPC or NFC. I've heard a lot about them. Feels like a format that I need to check out at some point, but have not done it all this year. Probably won't this year. I'll probably start for the next regular season, for the upcoming regular season. I'll try FFPC maybe for the first time. But I've never played it, so I don't really know. Is that the one where it's tight end premium, where you get like a 1.5 for your tight ends bonus, something like that? All right, what's my roster? Okay, I've got one tight end, 4 wide receivers, 3 running backs, 1 quarterback. Okay. Like at this point, like is Laporta, they say he's got an outside shot of coming back. And if he does come back, I mean, I know I took Cup, so one of them will be dead after the first round, but you got 12 spots to fill, 6 roster spots. I could take Higbee, Cup correlation, hope they move on to the second round. I don't know. I'm doing it. I'm doing Laporta. Just got more of an upside to beat out Kelsey, I think, than Higbee does if he ends up being active, obviously. Okay. What else? I've got 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, probably another wide receiver, maybe another KC receiver for the Super Bowl. Is it still Justin Watson? Is he still the guy you want? Should I be scrolling the F down, as the Badge Bros say? Probably should be. Probably shouldn't have taken Justin Watson there, but debatable. Wait, you pick one player from every team with exception of 2 teams. Oh, you fade 2 teams in FFPC. Is it just a 1 round thing, or is it for the entire playoffs? if you want to stack San Francisco and Baltimore, how many max should you get from those two teams in order to still have enough from the other teams? So on drafters, there is no advancing. Like every team advances every round on drafters. I still would say absolute max from San Francisco and Baltimore would be 6, because best case scenario for San Francisco and Baltimore is you get 3 rounds out of them, and any other team, like the best case scenario is 4 rounds. So I would not take more than 6 of Baltimore, San Francisco. I think I'd still try to always build out to have at least a full roster for round 1, even if you think it's going to be San Francisco, Baltimore. I think you can. I think if you're drafting for a San Francisco Baltimore Super Bowl, I would draft between 4 and 6. I think would be the number of San Francisco and Baltimore players, and obviously keeping in mind roster construction so you can fill out as close to a full roster as possible. Yeah, this is the struggle for me with Kansas City. Is I just like I don't know who to take, and part of me is like, because it's a coin flip, maybe I should be scrolling down and taking the ones who are not drafted as often. But I'm not sure. All right, who am I taking with my last pick here? Noah Brown. I go Jalen Tolbert. I started building out the Dallas stack. Might as well. All right, here you go. So I built for a Kansas City Dallas Super Bowl. I don't think I did not take a single player on this team that has a bye. I absolutely need it to be Kansas City in the Super Bowl because I only have one quarterback here, and it is Mahomes. That's another thing that Ricky and I were talking about, whether the one quarterback is the way to go. That's typically how I draft, unless I draft a bye week quarterback. But I think that I probably overdo that. I probably should draft 2 quarterbacks more often than I do. But here I took Mahomes with Pacheco, Watson, and Kelsey from Kansas City. And then for NFC teams, ideally for me, it would be Dallas. I've got Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, and Tolbert from Dallas. If it's actually, I should have thought this through a little bit better. I could have taken another Rams player, so that if it is the Rams in the Super Bowl, I've got 6 players from the Rams. I could have built out another Detroit player to have 6 from Detroit. So this is probably not the best, or a Tampa Bay. I could have taken a Godwin or somebody else. So this is actually not, I think, the best constructed team, because I only have essentially one viable Super Bowl, that being Kansas City, Dallas. I could have built out for multiple viable Super Bowls, is I think the better approach. It's better than some people build. It's not the best build I've ever done. I think a better build would be if I had instead of taking Amari Cooper, if that was Mike Evans. So then I have the secondary Kansas City Tampa Super Bowl. That would be a little bit better, I think. If I had who else could I have been? Detroit could have taken Laporta with even like Jameson Williams instead of Jalen Tolbert. Might have made sense. I don't know. There are better ways to draft than the way this went. I think it's better than a lot of people draft, but not the sharpest draft I could have done here. All right, I think I need to get going. Put my dog to bed, and say goodnight to my wife. So I think I'm going to end the stream here at a little bit more than 2 hours. I want to thank all of you again for hanging out with me tonight. I again did not have any kind of plan here. That wasn't planning on doing this until literally 40 minutes before I started figuring out how to set up StreamYard, before I started the stream. So was not really expecting anybody to hang out with me. There were a few of you who were here like the entire time, or at least most of the time. So really appreciate you hanging out with me. Again, if any of you have not subscribed to the channel, please do. I'd appreciate it. But I am going to call it a night with this. Maybe I'll come back and do some more drafting tomorrow. I figured I should get in tonight while some of these are going to be, like, I think Gauntlet might fill tonight. Weekly winners might fill tonight. So I want to do it before some of these contests fill at the very least. Thank you, Ricky. Yeah, I thought it went well. I was happy with the participation, at least in the audience. I don't think that we had that many people here the whole time, but everybody was participating a lot, which is awesome, because I just wanted people here to keep me company. So thank you all for hanging out with me all night. I am going to call it here. Good luck this season, this playoffs.